Alright you guys, well today I have for you this 2018 Audi SQ5. Take you on a little walk around here. Has that typical classy Audi look to it. I like this SQ5 badge in the front. Two of these silver plated mirrors and the roof racks. I believe these come standard from Audi. It's got a very sleek design to it. Lots of angles and indents in the bodywork here. Very clean look to the back of it. As you can see, you got another SQ5 badge. I actually want you guys to hear this exhaust note. So I'm gonna set the camera down right here. We'll pop the hood, show you guys the engine really quick. Alright, this is a 3-liter turbo V6. Makes 354 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. It is paired to an 8-speed automatic. As you can see, it's a pretty nice engine. I like the red accents on the engine cover here. But yeah, pretty standard in here. Close up the hood. And we'll check out the cargo area real quick. Alright, pretty quick opening tailgate here. And you do get a pretty spacious cargo area. It's not the biggest though, I'll say. Some other SUVs might offer a bit more practicality. This angle right here kind of cuts into your cargo area a pretty good amount, but it's not too bad. We'll check under the floor right here. You do get a spare tire, and you can also fold the seats down with these tabs right here. Just push them down like that. All right, and with the seats folded down, you do get a little more practicality. As you can see, they don't really fold down flush in this SQ5. I believe because this car has the sportier Alcantara sports seats in it. They're a little bit more bolstered than a typical seat, so they don't really fold down totally flat like you might find in like a normal, more kind of rational SUV, I suppose. But that's just kind of how it is. It's not really a big deal. We will close up the tailgate here. And it's pretty interesting, this whole taillight assembly lifts up with the tailgate. But we'll try out these back seats. All right. And this seat is where I'd normally drive. And it's not too bad back here. It's not the biggest, but I still have enough leg room, enough foot space. So can't complain too much. You don't get much interior amenities back here. Just, you know, your locks, your window switches, a 12-volt outlet, but not much else, to be honest. You do get these interesting cup holders. I feel like German cars always have to overcomplicate these things somehow. But, yeah, pretty standard back here. Check out the front seat. All right, and as you can see, as I said, this SQ5 does have the Alcantara sport seats, but we'll start it up. All right, and this interior makes a pretty solid impression, honestly. Everything in here feels well built, well put together. You get in this car and feel like you're definitely in something a little more expensive, more premium. This steering wheel has a cool like flat bottom design to it. I really like how it looks. You also get this really nice center screen in the gauge cluster. It's kind of funny. I usually don't complain if a car doesn't have something like this, but sitting in this car and seeing this right here, it actually is really nice. You also get your center screen. It's not a touch screen. You do have these 4 quadrants in here. So you have nav, you have your telephone, you have your radio, and you also have your media for Bluetooth and things like that. You also get Apple CarPlay in this screen too, which is nice. and you use this little scroll wheel to control it. If I go to menu right here, has kind of an interesting feedback to it when I press it. You do get a little more settings in here, so you can change your sound settings, your vehicle settings. In vehicle settings, this is where you can adjust your drive mode. You can also use this drive select button if you just want to go to it quickly. But you have off-road, you have comfort, you have auto, dynamic, and individual. And if you go into individual mode, you can change the engine and transmission, the suspension control, you can change the steering, and you can change the engine sound. I have been leaving it in dynamic mode. I think that's a really good best drive mode for this car, and the exhaust gets a little bit louder when I put it in dynamic mode. So yeah, it's a pretty nice infotainment screen. It does take a little bit of getting used to just because it's not a touch screen, but you do get used to it. Also, it's kind of interesting, you can use this number pad to write in numbers. So for example, like that. You do have this shifter. It's pretty interesting. It's just a tiny click down for drive, but say you want to go from park to sport, you do it like 2 little clicks down. There's a pretty short level of travel here between each gear. Can be a little bit confusing. I'm not always a fan of shifters like this, but as you can see, you do get a backup camera. It's actually not the best in this car. I notice it's really kind of crunched in and really kind of distorted a bit. When I was trying to back into a spot earlier, I noticed the parking spot on the camera was just really distorted for some reason. But you do get a manual mode over here, a plus and minus, as well as these paddle shifters. But we'll put it in park right here, and the shifter kind of slides over automatically. You do get your volume control, and this also acts as your tune control right here. You do your start stop button, your drive mode selector, auto start stop off, traction control off, parking sensors on. You also get a hill descent control, and you can shut your center screen off with this button. Kind of interesting. You get your climate controls. They're pretty simple to use. You get this little screen that shows your fan speed. You can also change where the air comes out with these buttons individually from the driver and passenger. They can be different on both sides, which isn't something I see too often, to be honest. You also get heated seats in here, 3 level. Start button is in a bit of a weird spot. I noticed it's a bit of a reach down here. Not really in a place you'd expect it to be, but not a huge deal. You also get a USB and a 12-volt outlet. You do get your electronic parking brake right here. You also get these cup holders and a little tray that kind of slides over them. And you do get a little center console. It's not really the biggest, it's just kind of a little tray right here, but it's not too bad. It gets the job done. You get another USB and an aux port in there. The center screen has a lot of information. So we can toggle over, we can check out our directory, we can look at our Bluetooth devices, we can check out our maintenance. You do have your energy consumers, so you can see the air conditioning is using up most of the energy, your driver assistance, and you also have traffic signs, so it'll read like the speed limit for you. That's pretty nice. So yeah, but we'll just go back to the navigation right here. Really love this screen. You also get your Bluetooth controls, your volume control. You do get your turn signals and wiper stalks. I like where this turn signal is in relation to like your hand. But one little minor complaint is when I turn my high beams on, they kind of go back to center. And if I turn them off, it's kind of the same thing. For some reason, with this design, I was driving this car at night and I kept forgetting my high beams were on. I feel like it was something to do with the fact that the stalk always goes back to center. It never really happens to me in any other car. You know, either I'm losing my mind or this stalk is just a little bit odd to use. It could be one or the other, honestly. But we do have your headlight controls down here, just this little switch. Pretty nice. You get your fog light controls. You do get this nice sunroof. We'll open that. And yeah, it goes pretty far back, as you can see. That's actually pretty decent. But we'll close it up right here. You can also close the shade. Has like a little power shade to it. You also get a glove box, pretty big glove box, as you can see. These seats are also nice and comfortable. I do like them. I always kind of thought Alcantara seats would feel uncomfortable, but these actually feel really nice and supportive, so happy to say that. But all right, let's get this car out on the road here, take it for a little drive. All right. So probably the first thing you notice about the Q5 is just how luxurious it feels. It's just got a very premium feel to it that, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting. I thought this is kind of Audi's like cheaper SUV. It's more built for just ease of operation, and I really wasn't expecting it to feel as luxurious or premium as it does. As you can see, it's got a good exhaust note, but that's nothing compared to when you put it in sport. Then it gets really loud. You can see it crackles in the exhaust, which I really like. You can tell there's like plenty of power on tap. Just all you have to do is like dip into the throttle like a tiny bit, and you just have like immediate power right on tap. I really love the feel of it. And this Q5 has really dynamic handling. I should say SQ5 because that's what this car is, but it has really dynamic handling, really sharp steering. Steering's a bit light, but it does have a nice kind of chunky weight to it. At the same time, it feels like pretty solid and planted on the road, and it's just got a really like nice, quick responding, precise nature to it. You can hear those crackles in the exhaust. They're actually quite crazy. And I believe the owner of this car put a tune on it. And yeah, I just really love how it sounds. It's got a really smooth ride to it at the same time. I mean, it handles really sharp, but you'd be surprised how comfortable this ride is for being a performance SUV. Man, listen to that. Sounds beautiful. If you're someone who likes performance, I feel like this will definitely satisfy. Really takes off well too. It kind of shoves you in the back of your seat really well. Really good torque right on tap. This 8-speed automatic is not quite the smoothest shifting. It is very snappy, it's very predictable, feels pretty logical, like it reads your inputs pretty well. But I do have to say it's not quite like buttery smooth like Toyota or something like that. It is just a little bit jerky at times, but it's not too bad. It's still nice and performance oriented. It still gives you all the gears that you want. These brakes feel good. They're not like super responsive. They don't feel like crazy sharp or anything. But they still got a good feel to them. They feel pretty powerful, pretty linear, predictable. You don't feel like you're gonna break the car if you need to stop quicker, which is good enough for me, honestly. The throttle response is pretty nice. It's pretty linear, pretty responsive. I do have to say there are times where I do have to kind of give it more pedal than I expect, but overall it's pretty linear and easy to operate. And yeah, just a very premium vibe to this Audi SQ5 right here. Even just the visibility, like I wasn't expecting this, but you get like this commanding view of the road that you don't find in other SUVs in this class right here. This front hood and like this dash, just the way everything kind of flows together, gives you a nice, like commanding, like luxurious kind of feel when driving down the road. I also really like how these side mirrors look from the driver's seat. They're really like sculpted nicely. Yeah, just a very premium vibe. You get a very big back window to look out of. You can see this car kind of that's been like following me for a bit. It's really easy to plant this car, you know, exactly where you want it to be. It's easy to tell where all the corners are. I just can't get over how good this ride is. I feel like other performance cars and SUVs in this class probably couldn't match this ride too well. It's one of the better riding cars that I've ever driven, to be honest, in combination with the handling. In my opinion, like this SQ5 has been one of the most impressive blends of ride quality and handling out of like any car I've driven. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this car. I did not expect to like it as much as I do, to be honest. Seems like we do have some traffic today, but I'm hoping in a few minutes here we can get a clear road and try out some of the performance. Yeah, those crackles are insane. They only happen when you put the shifter in sport mode. If you're just in normal drive, you don't really hear them. But yeah, just really responsive. Car loves to take off. It's a really fun SUV to drive. I did not expect an SUV to be this entertaining and this enjoyable. Yeah, it's pretty fast. Pretty good. Could never get tired of doing that, honestly. It makes it so easy for you to do that. Just like a light press of the accelerator. We will try out our turning radius up here. Looks like there aren't too many construction vehicles out here today. Usually when I come back here, there's like tons of chaos, but got the wheel, and as you can see, pretty solid turning radius, pretty sharp. All right, it looks like we got a clear road. That's awesome. All right. Take some corners. Wow, man, this thing is amazing. Really flat, really sharp handling. I was reading reviews for this car, and a lot of those car magazines were complaining that this SQ5 doesn't have as much power as some of the competitors, but that doesn't even bother me personally. Like, I'd still consider this car as an option if I wanted a performance SUV. When I compare it to some of the other performance SUVs I've driven, like for example the Jaguar F-Pace, this Q5 rides so much smoother than that. And it just feels so confidence inspiring taking it around these turns. Like, this thing is crazy. I can't even believe, like, I just did that in an SUV. It feels really light around the corners. So yeah, it rides smoother than the Jaguar F-Pace. That car had a really choppy ride. And the Porsche Macan Turbo, I even kind of like this a little bit better, even though it's a little down on power. I thought the Macan Turbo was just more isolated from the road than this. Like, this gives you a lighter, kind of scrappier feel when you're driving, compared to the Macan, which has a bit of that heavier and like more isolated feel on the road. Just crazy, this SUV. Yeah, I was not expecting this from an Audi Q5. We'll try to merge onto the highway here if we get lucky. Alright, I just want to get around this guy. Alright. Now we're moving. It's a little bit louder on the highway, but it still has that same, those same performance attributes. Very planted, very smooth on the highway, very solid. Steering point's nice and straight. It's a very predictable steering, and it's really refined as well. But we'll try taking this exit here actually, and we'll get back on the highway going the other way. Do a little brake check. All right. they're pretty good. Like I said, pretty refined, pretty smooth. They seem to do a good job stopping the car. All right, we are going to get back on the highway here. That is just crazy power. Crazy power. I better stop doing that before I get in trouble. But yeah, and it stays very linear throughout the whole rev range. We'll try some passing power right here. And yeah, very good passing power. All right, we'll try our cloverleaf off ramp. Let this guy get ahead of me a bit. Yeah, that is like really good. Definitely better than average. Thing makes you feel alive, man. Try putting it in comfort mode right now. And as you can see, the exhaust gets like practically silent compared to what it was. Throttle is a lot weaker in comfort, but not too bad. I notice in general when this transmission isn't in sport mode, it is a lot tailored back. Even when you're in dynamic mode, but in just normal drive, it does feel somewhat tailored back, a little bit hesitant to shift for you. I believe this SQ5 has adaptive dampers, so technically it does smooth out the ride. I think I can notice it a little bit. It does feel a little bit smoother, a little quieter. But still lets you access all that performance when you want to. But I think we will put it back in dynamic mode for right now. And yeah, I just love how sharp the throttle is when you put it in this dynamic and sport mode combination. All right, you guys, well, I think I will end the video in here. Yeah, really nice SUV. Really smooth and luxurious. Back it into this spot right here. All right. Yeah, I did not expect to like this SQ5 as much as I do. Just really like balanced in every kind of category. It's got this really precise steering that I really like. It's got one of the best blends of smooth ride quality and agile handling out of like any car I've driven. Silky smooth ride, but handles like it's on rails. You got this really nicely put together interior, got that beautiful sounding engine and exhaust, great performance, just an overall very premium, elegant luxurious car. Very satisfying to drive. Really liked it a lot. But we'll shut it off here and we'll hop out. All right, thanks for watching, everyone.